why I don't try to talk to people that feel as snaky and shit. Because at this point,
I think I forgot to ask for context of what makes me a puppet.
How did she turn from Iyabo to Laura? The person that she said, I'm going to be around Iyabo, to go close to her, so that probably get the kind of man she has.
Hey! I don't think Iyabo's a bully. At the end of the day, God gave each and every one of us mouths. If somebody is coming for you, come for them back. What's the issue? Hey!
To end this season of the Real Housewives of Lagos. Guys, what a way. Oh my goodness. Guys, it was Dr. Rommel'S lies for me. Hey! Guys, those lies got me gagging. It was insane. I just kept on asking myself, like, how did this guy keep a straight face? Like, how did he get into character? The way he was lying, formulating stories, and just oh my God.
That she said, I'm going to be around Iyabo. I'm going to make sure I do everything I can to be in Iyabo's good graces. I'm going to make sure I do everything to hang out with Iyabo, to go close to her. So,
see, my body was hot as I was listening to, and you see it. See, whoever edited this episode, hey, 1,000 years for you, like 1,000 years to add to your current age. May you live long. Because that person did us a favor. As Dr. Romeo was just firing the lies, the person was firing the receipts. I say, thank you, oh, Daria Talade, you and your crew. Thank you, people. Guys, it was insane. And the one thing I kept telling myself was, if these women finally watch this episode, and they still see Faith as the villain, then we've been right all along. That it was just them being intimidated by Faith's presence, by her comportment, by her queenliness, by everything that she is. Just a mere existence. They've just been intimidated. They've got nothing against this young woman. Now, aside Dr. Romeo, that was also Chioma. Hey, God. Guys, yeah, I think at this point, yeah, coming from me as a concerned viewer, I think Chioma needs a reorientation of certain concepts in life. The concept of bullying, even the action of it. Chioma needs enlightenment. Someone needs to school Chioma and help her understand that oh God, guys, yeah, Chioma needs enlightenment for the concept of bullying, the concept of social etiquette. I don't want to say everything on this introduction because this is just an intro, but guys, I'm baffled. There's a lot of things I want to say. I'm baffled. So Chioma needs a reorientation. Tanya, oh my God, there's a lot to say about that one. Mariam, Iyabo, guys, there's a lot about this episode that I have to say. And frankly speaking, this episode stands to be one of my favorites, yes. And it was just an amazing way to end this season, right? And this is the part where I give accolades to production. Production, Dare, you and your crew, you guys are amazing. Because see, this episode was a banger. It was a banger, gave me a roller coaster of emotions to deal with. But guys, there's a lot to talk about, right? And I just cannot wait to dig into it. So let's get into this video. As usual, we're going to attack this episode scene by scene. And of course, I would love to hear your thoughts about it all in the comment section below. So please go ahead and spill, all right? And of course, guys, you know that this particular review will never be enough for us all to forget our emotions, to express how we truly feel about every single event that happened on this particular episode of the show. So please make it a date with us tomorrow, Saturday, 3 p.m. WAT. Do not miss out on our live conversation. Guys, there's a lot to talk about, so please make sure you come through. Do not miss out. And officially, you're all specially welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Laura Ikeji. This is Frankly Speaking with Laura Ikeji. and I am the girl with the tea. For those of you that are yet to become a part of this community, please do not hesitate to do exactly what you see on your screen. Kindly go ahead to subscribe, turn on your post notification bells, especially if you're looking for that space where you can get the most detailed, factual, and accurate analysis of reality TV shows, movies, and trending social topics. All right. And for those of you that are OGs, thank you so much for coming back. All of that said, let's quickly dive into the analysis of the episode 12, in fact the final episode of the season 2 of the Real Housewives of Lagos. Now, the beginning of this episode was quite hilarious, but very thought-provoking. Very thought-provoking. I mean, guys, I had to replay that beginning twice just to catch what had actually happened between Iyabo and her minions. Now, at the end of episode 11, I don't know how many of you have caught the moment when Iyabo had actually dragged Chioma to the floor when Chioma was trying to hold her back from, physically attacking Laura in the heat of their altercation. Now, at the start of this particular episode, it was actually Mariam this time around that Iyabo had actually vehemently, aggressively pushed away from her when Mariam was trying to, block her from going back to go attack Laura. And then it then became Tanya's turn. Iyabo had, guys, aggressively tossed Tanya away to the sofa in the heat of that same altercation. It made me think about the concept of friendship. That how is it that there is no respect in this thing that Iyabo and Chioma and even Tanya calls a friendship? I can't really say much for how Iyabo treated Mariam in that instant, because that one, Mariam, everybody knows that Mariam is actually looking for a gang to join in that group, But between Chioma and Iyabo and Tanya, guys, it just did not make sense to me. Because for me, I found it to be quite disrespectful and embarrassing that your friend who's, engaged in a fight would treat you that way, would even physically attack you in a fight like that, all because you're trying to, help them save their face from embarrassing themselves, from destroying their reputation in a heated altercation. Guys, I found that to be quite disrespectful. And the fact that Chioma did not see anything wrong with that. The fact that Tanya was even laughing. The fact that Mariam too was acting like, oh no, she's just upset. Ha! See, the first thing I just told myself was, you see, those 3 minions, now that the show is over, they should do themselves a favor. They should locate where Showmax drops their trash can. They should go and look for it. They should enter that trash. They should search thoroughly. They should search very, very thoroughly for their spine, for their backbone. When they find it, they should retrieve it and go and put it back. Because this entire season, see those 3 people? They just literally acted like a headless chicken. Because there's nothing anybody would tell me that is enough excuse for Iyabo to be so aggressive towards those people. And then, as if that wasn't enough, Iyabo went ahead to threaten Faith's bouncer. According to her, she was going to use a bottle to break his head if he tried again, to separate her from Laura and Faith. Because the bouncer was just there, guys. At some point, I was feeling sorry for the guy. The guy looked like he was sort of confused, because he's a man, right? He's a man, and he wouldn't want to lay hands on any of the women, because that would come off as him being physical with the women, which I really liked that he did, the fact that he kept his hands to himself. But I kind of felt sorry for him because the guy wanted to do his job, by protecting his madam, that's Faith. But then at the same time, everybody there were all women, so he could not really do anything about it other than saying, oh, it's okay, back down. And Iyabo found that to be quite offensive, which made me wonder, so imagine you use a bottle on this guy's head now. What do you think is going to happen next, Iyabo? You're going to walk away scot-free. As the queen mother, you were angry So you vetted out your upset and your vengeance on the bouncer. Like, really? Whilst in the heat of all of that back and forth between Iyabo and Laura, Chioma's confessional really stood out for me.
I feel like we need to like create this rule whereby if you are physically violent with another member of the circle, then maybe you should leave the circle.
So she had said that there should be a new rule, you know, which states that people who are violent, you know, should be kicked out of the group. Yes, so that people can freely and easily express themselves, you know, speak their mind without the fear of getting physically attacked by these violent people. And ladies and gentlemen, you and I know that she was actually referring to not just Toyin, but also Iyabo, which made me wonder that, okay, could it be that Chioma is feeling stifled in this her relationship or friendship with Iyabo? Because guys, we watched from episode 11 how uncomfortable Chioma was all through that entire, you know, hassle with Laura. We saw that she was obviously upset, but the fact that she did not make any reference to the fact that she had been a victim of Iyabo's violence, Iyabo's aggressiveness. Guys, it baffled me. Yeah, it baffled me because, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's all remember that this is actually one of the reasons Chioma had ended her friendship with Caroline, or had claimed to end her friendship with Caroline. According to her, you know, whilst they were in Dubai last season, when she was trying to separate them, Iyabo had aggressively pushed her into a dressing mirror in the room where the whole thing was happening. And she had sustained some bruises. She had cut herself. She had injured herself really badly, although we did not see it, but she claimed that she had actually been bruised badly from that whole experience. And then guys, if you all recall the phone call she had put through to her sister and her mother, in fact her family, she had put the whole blame on Caroline. That if Caroline had listened to her and not engaged Iyabo in that whole quarrel, that whole argument, that she would not have been shoved or pushed aggressively by Iyabo, you know, to sustain those injuries. Which now, thinking about it, guys, it just sounds really dumb to me. Yeah, it sounds really dumb. Because now, this is like the second time, I guess, I mean, from what we're seeing on the show, this is the second time that Iyabo, this time around, did not even push her, but literally dragged her to the floor. And I'll repeat, like a lifeless doll. And she's not complaining about it. She's not making any reference to it. She's not seeing anything wrong with it. Instead, she's even making excuses for Iyabo. But then, as I was saying, that statement she made during her confessional, guys, it actually opened a window into Chioma's actual feelings about Iyabo. That no matter how much Chioma defends Iyabo, Iyabo will always remain a violent person to Chioma. And so the question, once again, stands that why is Chioma still with Iyabo? If she can break off a friendship, a good friendship for that matter, with Caroline who did not even physically attack her. Yes, I mean, she was the one that even physically attacked Caroline, courtesy of Iyabo, that actually pushed her, you know, to push into Caroline, guys, at the pool, whatever, in the previous season. Question is, why is Chioma still with Iyabo? I mean, this person, from what we have seen on the show twice now, or maybe once we've seen, once we've heard, right? But twice in total now, we've actually seen this person get all violent on you, unapologetically. Did not apologize from the information we have of the show. This person did not apologize. This person was not remorseful about it. Instead, you've been the one going to go and tell the person sorry and even trying to pacify the person, you know, in the midst of their upset. But you're still with the person. Ladies and gentlemen, having reviewed these whole situations and also listened to an interview that Chioma had with Toke Makinwa, you know, how she narrated her experience of being in an abusive relationship, how she experienced it and then she would go back because the person came back to beg her. Guys, not to water down Chioma's experience, because at the end of the day, she was the one in those situations. She experienced it. For whatever reason that kept her there, guys, only she and her God knows, right? But not to water down Chioma's experience. It made me wonder, with this Iyabo's whole situation now, it made me wonder if Chioma enjoys being in a toxic relationship. And for the enlightened minds, you and I know that toxic relationships is not only narrowed down to a relationship between the opposite genders. It could be a relationship between best friends. Yeah, it could be a relationship between siblings. It could be a relationship between family members. It could be a relationship between any of the genders. Same genders or opposite genders, guys. A toxic relationship remains a toxic relationship. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking a lot of questions here because I'm quite confused. Chioma is showing us a personality that completely contradicts the personality that she wants us to see. So, guys, I'm completely confused because it's like Chioma wants us to perceive her as an intelligent, enlightened, well brought up, well traveled, well exposed young woman. But I'm actually seeing the absolute reverse here. Yes, I'm seeing something entirely different, and it's quite confusing. And so I would love to hear from all of you. So just go ahead, let me know what you think about this Chioma and Iyabo's relationship. Do you think it's actually healthy? Or do you think Chioma is justified in not wanting to address the obvious toxicity of a relationship with Iyabo? Guys, what are your thoughts? Please go ahead and share as we move on. Now, I absolutely loved Laura's confessional where she had actually said that, listen, they're all equal in that circle. They're on the show together. They're all equal. Nobody is higher than anybody. So if Iyabo feels like she's too old, to be around them, because she feels like she's older than them all, then she should leave and she will not be missed. And ladies and gentlemen, I proudly announce that I share Laura's sentiments because that completely mirrored how I was feeling about the whole situation. Because Iyabo kept on shouting, oh, who are you? Why will you tell me to sit down? And I was like, I don't understand. Who are you? Sit down. Sit your ass down. And guys, me too, I'm over here and I'm like, yes, Iyabo, shut the fuck up and sit down. Because who are you that nobody can tell you to sit down? Sit down. Is it an insult? No. It is a suggestion, when they feel like you're actually ratcheting around and you're going out of line. So sit down and get your act in order. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that suggestion. Oh, and speaking about Chioma's confessional about, the new rule that violent people should be kicked out of the group, I also forgot to add that Chioma indeed is also a violent person, if you think about it. I mean, aside being verbally abusive, yes, and also acting like a bully sometimes, there was that scene at Tanya's book reading event where she was literally, caving into, what's her name now? Mariam, right? They were having an argument and she was all up in, what's her name now? Mariam's face, and she was like, she didn't support you, she didn't support you. How do you classify such an action or such a behavior, violent or not? Guys, let me know in the comment section, because at this point, I think we need some redefinitions of certain concepts. Sometimes, frankly speaking, I feel like, guys, I feel uninformed when Chioma defines certain things. Aside that, I was really elated when Laura finally said openly that, listen, Iyabo, I don't like you. I've tried to be nice to you. I've tried to be gracious to you, but you've been very nasty to me. So just as much as you don't like me, I also do not like you. And everybody decided that, okay, fine. It was all well and good now that it was out there in the open that these two people do not like each other, that it's better, for everybody to know where everybody is with everybody than for them to be pretending, that they actually like each other when they do not. And what followed next was this very, very annoying, irritating speech from Chioma.
That's all. Thank God it didn't get physical. We thank God.
Thank thank God it's all over now. Let's continue. Thank God it did not get physical. And I'm like, Chioma, are you suffering from delusional hypocrisy? Because at this point, guys, I feel like nah, they need to give Chioma some electric shock, so that she will wake up back to reality. Because I'm thinking, Chioma, I don't understand. You were right there when everything was happening. Iyabo almost getting physically violent with Laura, and then you ended up getting dragged to the floor. Is that not physical violence? And then there was Mariam that was shoved by the same Iyabo. There was Tanya that was literally tossed like what did they call it, guys? I mean, just as I put on Twitter, the way Iyabo tossed what's her name, Tanya, to the sofa. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching this season from episode 1, that is the exact way Tanya has literally allowed herself to be tossed around like pom pom all over the place. So I was asking myself, like, Chioma, I don't understand. Are you sleeping or what? Like, do you need a rebooting or something? What do you mean by, oh, thank God it did not get physical? Like, I don't understand. Now you're living in self-denial. You're living in denial of the fact that Iyabo actually got physically violent with you and your other friends. Like, seriously. Just like someone that came with an agenda, to rile people up, to instigate shit and all whatnot, Chioma still forged ahead with her questions, all in the guise of, oh, we're still playing the truth or dare game, right? So she was still inquiring about this friendship between Faith and Laura. And this time around, Faith did not back down from the question. Instead, she took her time to explain the timeline, the history of her friendship with Laura. According to her, she and Laura, they've been chatting on Instagram for 5 years. Yes. Laura is constantly supporting her business. Every time she posts a picture about her business, Laura is always liking, commenting. Laura is always supporting, until they now finally met about 5 months ago. I think probably into the show. And then they continued that communication that they had actually already had. And she even made reference to Iyabo's daughter, that before she even met Iyabo's daughter, they've been, communicating as well on social media. Yes. For her, these people have actually been supporting her brand. And that was when she now pointed out that even the necklace Iyabo was wearing, it's from her collection. Guys, at that point in time, you could see the shock on Iyabo's face.
Right, I can spot my collection. You're also wearing my collection right now. So for me, collection. My necklace, one of the necklace you're wearing. Yeah, Morey collection.
You could see that Iyabo was so uncomfortable. If Iyabo could rip apart that necklace at that point in time, ladies and gentlemen, she actually would have. Yes, but you could tell that she loves the necklace, because there's nothing stopping Iyabo at that point in time to rip and tear apart that necklace. But she still left it there. And guys, to show you that Tanya is indeed that silent instigator that we're literally sleeping on. Tanya was the one that now asked again, what collection? What necklace? Faith had to point out that, oh, the one Iyabo is wearing. And then Tanya was like, Mariam too was making faces, guys. See, that particular moment was just very hilarious, because the truth is, it did not come as a shade from Faith. She was just explaining the situation of things, between herself and Laura with regards to this friendship that everybody wants to know about. And according to her, she felt like it was not in her place to explain how she and Laura met, because she was aware that such a question had actually caused a problem before for Laura. And guys, if you all cast your mind back to, I think the very first episode of season 1, where people were asking Chioma about Laura. Oh, how did you know Laura? And Chioma had called Laura just a client, that they were not friends. Faith was trying to avoid such a situation again. And I loved the fact that Laura was, confirming her narrative, that is what it is. And even this whole thing that Faith is actually narrating, that she had actually explained it all to the women before. And guys, you see, even though we were not privy to that information, Laura was actually confirming the whole gist. That this whole thing that Faith is explaining, she had actually told these women before. So it was quite frustrating that they just kept on probing and probing and probing. In the midst of Faith's explanation, guys, it was Iyabo that was my major concern. Iyabo obviously looked very uncomfortable. And for some weird reason, it seems like every time Faith is talking, right? It seems like Iyabo cannot stand it. It feels like at that point in time, the intimidation, you know, grows bigger on Iyabo's head because she walked out. Yeah, she walked out. She was very uncomfortable. And Laura saw that. And that was where she said during her confessional that she feels like Iyabo is just being pretentious towards Faith. And guys, frankly speaking, I just could not help but agree with Laura. Because how else do you explain Iyabo's dislike for Faith? How else? How? And the part that really cracked me up was Mariam talking about, she was trying to defend Faith because Faith, you know that same nonsense that she did last episode where she was talking about, I thought she thought, blah, 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 blah. And guys, I loved the fact that Faith shut her up. Yeah, Faith shut her up and gave clarity by herself. Like she literally spoke for herself. And I loved how she put it during her confessionals as well, that ever since she met these women, it's been toxic. Guys, and there's no lie in that it's been toxic. How do you explain Iyabo walking all over Faith's clothes? How do you explain that? How do you explain all the backbiting, all the unnecessary jabs here and there? How do you explain all the unnecessary comparison to the most cruel thing? How do you explain all of that? Anyways, they broke off the meeting because, according to Chioma, the host, they needed to go change for the jacuzzi. But instead of them to go straight up to their rooms, well, just as expected, the minions, that's Chioma, Tanya, and the newly added member, Mariam, who of course is quite excited to have been finally accepted into Iyabo's caucus, right? They all went outside to, you know, pacify Iyabo and to stroke her ego. Because remember earlier when Faith was speaking, Iyabo had walked out on all of them and nobody even said a word. Guys, if it was someone else that did that thing, they would lose their head over it. But hey, they went outside and just as expected, they were stroking her ego. They were telling her the things that she needed to hear. Iyabo, of course, was still venting thunder and brimstone.
I don't like the fact that you told me she's pregnant. That information, I don't need it. You want to come for me and I'll be vent my other, you're bad dude. Do you understand? I will come for you.
Was upset with Mariam that, why would Mariam inform her about Laura's pregnancy? That she had nothing to do with that information because she wanted to slap Laura. She wanted to do bag. She was just talking. Mariam was, of course, no, it's not like that. Chioma too was saying things that Iyabo needed to hear, right, to stroke her ego. Tanya was busy blaming Laura. That, Laura is the one that has been carrying Iyabo in mind for the longest time. So why would Laura bring that kind of energy? Guys, see, sometimes when Tanya opens her mouth to speak on this show, let me reserve my comment. Now, Laura, on the other hand, was still very charged, yes, and ready to fight Iyabo. For her, all Iyabo does is brag and brag and brag that she can't really do anything because she knows for sure that if they put she and Iyabo together in a room, she's going to definitely deal with Iyabo. Yes, that in fact, next season, if she's not pregnant by that time, Iyabo should come. Both of them, they will fight things out and they will trash things out once and for all. Because for her, she just feels like Iyabo is very, very condescending. You know, she belittles people a lot. She's very, very disrespectful. And guys, frankly speaking, that is what we've been seeing. That's what we've been getting of Iyabo all season. So there was no single lies in everything Laura was just venting about during her confessional. I mean, guys, it was the way Laura was dragging Iyabo. According to her, Iyabo wears fake designer items. She's always bragging about wearing this and that. Everything she wears is fake. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that one. I'm not a designer items buyer, so I don't know. For those of you that actually know, please let me know in the comment section below. Do you think Laura was actually capping, or do you think she was actually spilling some real facts right there? But Faith, on the other hand, of course, did not like how things went, but she was quite happy with the fact that they said what they had to say. you know, in that gathering. And during that confessional, she had actually described Iyabo to be a bully.
I think Iyabo likes to bully people.
According to her, the way bullies operate, if you do not fight back, it will give them the motivation, you know, to make them feel more powerful to continuously come at you, to continuously attack you. And guys, I absolutely agree with Faith, because that is the thing about bullies. Yes, when you act like you're a weakling to them, they feel powerful over you. You know, they keep on wanting to trample on you, shut you up, shut you down, you know, poke you, trigger you, provoke you, just come at you unprovoked, anytime, anywhere. Guys, anyhow they feel like. But the moment you fight back and you give them a taste of their own peel, in fact, even make it double, trust me, they begin to step back because they are scared of people that have a voice. And that was exactly what Laura did to Iyabo. You see, guys, I feel like Iyabo's biggest shock in that whole drama, you know, was the fact that Laura, of all people, was able to render her powerless in front of her minions. Now, the pool scene. By this time, the ladies had gone in, they had dressed up, they had changed, and they had come out into the jacuzzi. I call it the pool scene because, hey, it's the pool scene, so whatever, yeah. So Iyabo was the first person to be in the mini jacuzzi. It had this swirl, like this tornado swirl going on in the middle. Very, very cute. I liked it. So Iyabo was the first to be there. She came out with Chioma, by the way, and then Tanya joined them, and then Mariam joined them. Now, 4 of them were already in the jacuzzi, and then Faith and Laura showed up afterwards. So Faith and Laura, they joined the jacuzzi. Laura initially did not want to get into the jacuzzi because, of course, guys, she's pregnant and we don't know the situation of things with her body, with her hormones. But then Iyabo and Chioma, they kept on calling for her to come into the jacuzzi. And according to her in her confessionals, she just had to show up because she did not want to make Iyabo feel like she was scared of being in Iyabo's presence. You know, they are all there to have fun. So fun she was going to have. So eventually she joined them in the jacuzzi. Now, guys, frankly speaking, I don't know why, but all of a sudden, Iyabo stood up and left the jacuzzi and went to the bigger pool. Now, she was making this excuse of, oh, this side is warmer, that side is cold. And Mariam was the first of her minions to get up and follow suit. And then followed by Tanya. And then followed by Chioma. Now, all 4 of them, they went to the bigger pool. They stayed there and like, oh yeah, it's warm. Hey guys, it wasn't warm, but they were just saying that it was warm. Now, they started calling out to, specifically Mariam, started calling out to Faith and Laura to come over to the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, see, it was at this point. See, I've been giving Faith accolades since so, but see, I literally stood up. I'm like, ice for the queen. Hey, all hail the queen that has a mind of her own. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Faith looked at these people and she said to them that, why did you guys leave when we came? We came out and we met you all in this particular jacuzzi. Didn't you know that it was cold at the time? You guys came out first, so why are you leaving now that Laura and I have arrived? And you know, Iyabo was like, well, fuck off. And Faith too was like, you two fuck off. Guys, oh my God. See, that scene was sweet to watch. Because, guys, have you ever seen where a mother hen is gathered around somewhere with her chickens, right? With her chicks. I think that's what they call it, with her chicks. And then she wants to port to another location. She just gets up, waddles like a little duckling, walks away, and then her chicks, without even thinking twice, they just turn around and they follow her. That was how Iyabo and her little minions looked like. Guys, it was so ridiculously hilarious. And the fact that Faith literally put down their ridiculous invitation, oh my God. See, in Niger accents, that part sweets me die. Because I'm like, chai, See, if Faith and Laura had stepped an inch into that big pool, I would say, nah, these ladies, they form my hand. But guys, they did not form my hand. They did not disappoint her. Because they gave the energy that me, I would have given if I was in that situation. Because who the fuck are you? Who the actual fuck are you? To dictate how I should spend my evening. To dictate which pool I should stay in. Because guys, it did not make sense. These people were already in the jacuzzi before Laura and Faith came out. This means that they should at least know already that, okay, it was cold. So if it was cold, they should have tried the other pool. But no, they stayed there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not even waste our energy on this one. We know for a fact that it was all a lie. We know for a fact that Iyabo cannot stand Faith's presence. Faith's light is too bright. Like, it literally blinds Iyabo every time Faith shows up. So she could not stay in Faith's presence. She needed an excuse to move away from that jacuzzi. And the other minions, of course, they knew the truth. They knew. And just to flex Iyabo's authority, just to, you know, also extend Iyabo's dominance over them, they tried to bring Faith and Laura into their nonsense mix. Guys, I was so happy that Faith and Laura did not move an inch, because it also showed that they too, they had a mind of their own, even though the other little minions did not have a mind of their own. And it was Tanya's reaction for me.
You can fuck up too.
Because guys, I see, oh my God. Thank God that the season has ended though. We're sure waiting for reunion, but oh my God, I felt like just dragging Tanya's head and flinging her out of that pool at that point in time. Because whether it was Iyabo or Mariam that said fuck off, guys, but somebody just said it. And everybody heard it, but nobody said anything. But then the moment Faith reciprocated the beautiful gesture by re-echoing Iyabo's words or curses to her, Tanya made it an issue. She was like, what? And then she was like, what? I'm like, hey, shh, shut up. Shh, shh, shut up. Shut up. Rubbish. She looked like one duck that wanted to drown. I'm like, Tanya, you know what? Just drown yourself. Just sink your head under the pool. Let's not even see you. Just shut it. Shut it. Lord have mercy. Tanya is going to drive me crazy. Guys, I just could not take it. And guys, just when I thought I was the only one that was quite irritated by Tanya's reaction, I watched Faith's puppet's impression of Tanya in a Confessionals, guys. It was so hilarious.
Laura, won't you come inside the pool? No.
She's like, how? Why do you think? What's happening? What's happening? Why do you think? I'm guys like, oh my God. Anyways, after a little while, Faith and Laura left the pool. Laura was quite exhausted. I think the pregnancy is already taking its toll on her. Probably it's in the early stages. And the minions started making a mockery. Like, they started making jest of the ladies. And then they were calling Laura. Oh, Laura, come and check the water. The water is actually warm. The water is actually warm. They were even singing one primary school song. And then Laura tipped her toe into the water and she was like, it's actually warm. And then she was laughing sarcastically as she was going away. And guys, at that point in time, it kind of made me realize that, nah, Laura saying that the water was warm was actually in reverse. Yes, it was actually sarcastic because it was actually cold. And guess what? Right after they left, Dr. Romeo arrived and Iyabo was already giving him a cold welcome, like, oh, go back, go back, go back. Chioma's excuse for that ridiculousness was that, oh, he came late, why didn't he come since? And I'm like, well, girl, you people just invited this man after you had already arrived at the resort. So what were you expecting? Like he's going to carry a witch's broom and then he'll fly all the way from wherever he is and arrive there like in 5 minutes? Like what were you thinking? And this was the deal breaker. Dr. Romeo got into the pool. He swam just one lap. And the man was like, oh my God, the water is so cold. I'm like, so the water was actually cold. Oh my God, these women are going to kill me. When Dr. Rommel'S said that the water was actually cold, ladies and gentlemen, I almost fell off my sofa with laughter because I'm like, hey. I thought these women said the water was warm. And to make matters worse, the next morning, Mariam joined the ladies in breakfast, with a bit of cold, and she had said during her confessionals that the way the pool was cold, that she woke up this morning with a blocked nose and say, and even Dr. Romeo, I had to go do yoga the next morning. According to him, the events of the previous night, he wanted to clear his mind. He wanted to clear his God. All to prove a point. Guys, what was the need of those women lying that, the pool is actually warm? Because, guys, it got me thinking, how is it possible that the jacuzzi will be cold and then the main pool that's that big will be warm? Somebody make it make sense. Oh God. Now, moving on to the next scene. Ladies and gentlemen, this next scene was the scene that murdered all the mothers of all scenes for this season for me. This scene was where we had the most spillage this season. This scene was where everything came to light. In a way, that is, and we're going to talk about it. Now, it was the morning after the fight between Iyabo and Laura, the morning after Faith gave us the timeline of her friendship with Laura, the morning after the jacuzzi and the whole pool saga of which one was cold and which one was hot. Now, this morning after, Chioma had decided as the host that everybody was to have breakfast together. Yeah, so they were in the garden, or she had arrived first. Actually, she had arrived first, and Tania had joined her. And already she was telling Tania that she had a lot of questions for Laura because she just did not understand how Laura just switched up on Iyabo just like that. Laura that was always telling them not to fight, to be at peace, to sing Kumbaya. And Tania too was literally agreeing with Chioma that, Laura was the one that was saying that we should not fight. And as they were talking, Laura was approaching, looking all beautiful and glorious, with her with her radiant white, white shoes, white heels, looking resplendent. And Tania kind of had issues with the fact that Laura had chosen to wear heels. And she was already making side comments like, now wow, you're wearing heels in the morning, And I'm like, Tania, nobody said anywhere that nobody could wear heels to breakfast. If you so wanted to wear heels to breakfast, what stopped you from wearing heels to breakfast? Why do you honestly have a problem with Laura wearing heels to breakfast? Is it your leg? Tania, is it your leg? Is it your heels? Did she borrow shoes from you? Does it restrict your airflow? And you know what really pained me the most? The fact that she made it as a side comment to Chioma, and when Laura came, she could not, you cannot talk, like, Tania. Do us a favor, Tania. Pick up yourself and trust yourself by yourself. Because I've been saying this thing since, and it has to be done. Anyways, Laura settled down, and the following conversation that ensued between herself and Chioma, literally got me gagging because I just could not believe that one that's exposed in terms of travels and whatever, however way, like Chioma, could have such a mindset about the meaning of bullying. Because just as she said, that she would ask Laura, she had gone ahead to ask Laura what the previous night was all about, seeing the way Laura had actually tackled Iyabo and vice versa. And Laura had, said and maintained that Iyabo was a bully. The way Iyabo had been acting towards her, being nasty unnecessarily, even despite the fact that she had apologized over and over and over and over and over again, to Iyabo for lying that her husband was waiting for her at Iyabo's daughter's birthday, blah, 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 blah. That for her, that is just Iyabo being a bully. And ladies and gentlemen, that was where Chioma had said in her confessional.
I don't think Iyabo's a bully. All this, Iyabo's a bully, you're a bully. To me, that's rubbish. What makes somebody a bully? At the end of the day, God gave each and every one of us mouths. If somebody is coming for you, come for them back. What's the issue?
Hey! She does not believe Iyabo is a bully, blah, 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 rah, rah, rah. As far as she's concerned, God has given everybody a mouth. So if anybody comes for you, you should also use your mouth and come for them. Guys, I was baffled. I immediately went out to Twitter. I said, please, if Chioma is on Twitter, somebody should please help me tag Chioma. She needs to help us define a bully. Because they said Iyabo that she's speaking for, Iyabo has even owned up to that role by herself with her own mouth in the previous episode. That she does not like you, she will be a bully to you. That yes, if Laura feels like she's bullying her, then yes, she's bullying her. She doesn't like Laura. Laura is this. Laura is manipulative. Laura is that. And then Chioma, a lawyer. Wow. That was cringe. That was cringe. Coming from someone that's, ran crying to Iyabo to go and complain. Mariam insulted me that I don't have a child. Shabi, that one used that mouth to attack you. You came at her, almost getting physically violent with her. And then she used the said mouth that God gave to everybody, right? She used that mouth to come at you back, to speak her mind. And you went to go and cry. And you reported that to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that cared to listen. And then you reported that to us, the viewers. You maintained your stance. You kept on holding on to those words. That you never forgive her. People will never talk. People will never forget each other. Da, 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 da. And now it's the same you, Chioma, that's defending Iyabo, saying that Iyabo is not a bully. So, pray tell Chioma, how do you define Iyabo's action on the very first time that all the ladies met Faith and Iyabo had walked all over Faith's train, as we call it? What do you call that? Oh, and then at every slight opportunity, the jabs here and there, the nonsense, even Chioma herself, throwing jabs at Faith unnecessarily. Guys, see, I think I've actually said this to all of you before, that sometimes when I listen to these women talk, i.e. Mariam, Tanya, Iyabo, and now Chioma, who I've always seen as the intelligent one in that their little carcass, right? When I listen to them talk sometimes, it's like I get a brain freeze because they're not making sense. So someone please, anybody out there watching this video right now, can you please, from all what you've seen on the show, help us define a bully? And tell us if Iyabo has not been gearing towards that direction of being a bully. Because at this point, I feel like Chioma is quite delusional. And frankly speaking, guys, everything Chioma was saying in that whole confessional, it just reeks of hypocrisy. At that point in time, I was looking at Chioma and I was just seeing a bloody hypocrite. is quite delusional and would rather lie to herself than to speak truth to power, all in the guise of, oh, loyalty and being loyal to Iyabo. I'm like, no wonder Chioma is actually enjoying the toxicity. Only God knows what she's actually dealing with behind the scenes with Iyabo. But because of shame and disgrace, she would not want to come out and say it. So that people will not laugh at her and say, oh, every time you're defending this woman, so you too, you're actually receiving your own bouts of bullshit behind the scenes. Because guys, that was just very, it was just very pathetic listening to such words, such explanations from Chioma. Very pathetic. Now, it was at that point in time that Mariam arrived looking sick and, exhausted. And then during a confessional, she had actually told us about how cold that pool was. Like, she literally woke up, that morning with a blocked nose. And just as I said before, guys, I found it to be quite hilarious. And I felt like it was well deserved. Yes, she deserved it. As a matter of fact, if all of them had even caught a cold, I would have been very, very excited. I would be jumping for joy. Because for me, I just felt like people just went to shame yourselves. You went to disgrace yourselves. Just for what? To prove a point, to assert yourselves, to assert Iyabo's dominance, which is just quite childish, very, very ridiculous. So I was quite excited that, oh yes, Mariam was admitting to the fact that that pool was actually not warm as they all claimed the previous night. Yes, and it was also very glaring that they had actually done it to spite Faith. Anyways, Iyabo, Faith, and then Dr. Rommel'S joined the table. So the table was complete, everybody was just chattering here and there. And then Chioma's phone rang, Toyin had called. And frankly, guys, that part was a bit confusing for me because Chioma picked up the call like, oh, Toyin is calling. But then Toyin, during a confessional, had actually extended appreciation to Chioma for calling to check in on her. So guys, I'm just kind of confused. But the point is, if you all recall, Toyin had gone away last episode for her surgery and she was in recovery. And she was probably calling to apologize to Chioma for not being able to make the getaway, right? Chioma was passing the phone around to people. Of course, she did not give the phone to Laura and Faith, but she was passing the phone around to people. And Mariam was in one tiny little corner having her breakfast and she was making faces like a chat. My God, guys, it was funny, but not funny. Because I'm looking at this one and I'm like, Mariam, you're somebody's mother. What this nonsense you're doing is not funny like that, too. It looks ridiculous, actually, but you're somebody's mother. This is something that your child should be doing, not you. Definitely not you. Because this is someone that is calling from a place of recovery. And yes, I understand that both of you have unsettled business, right? But did you have to be making all those faces like, it was just ugly. It was nonsense. It was ridiculous. Guys, it was funny, as I said, but not funny. It was more like ridiculous because I just felt like, nah, I get it. You haven't forgiven Toyin yet, but that was just a tad bit insensitive of you. Anyways, still on the call to Toyin, Chioma was going on and on about, oh, we miss you. Yeah, but was we miss you. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I know that they don't miss Toyin one bit. Yes, because they're not close like that. But anyways, Chioma was doing all of that, and Dr. Rommel'S looked unbothered, and he had said during his confessional that, truth be told, he did not miss Toyin's presence at all because they are not close. They are not friends. Maybe they are trying to get to know each other, but they are not friends. I'm like, Dr. Rommel'S, shh, shut up. Shut up your mouth. You and I know that you don't like Toyin because just like Laura, she chose not to take your word for it about Faith. She chose to get to know Faith for herself instead of following your words like a headless chicken like these other women have done. So you don't like her because she has a mind of her own. You don't like her because she did not fall under your manipulation. So we know. Don't come here and come and be giving us capping, making it look like, oh, Toyin, we're not friends like that. Who told you that she wants to be friends with you? Then Mariam said during her confessional that even though Toyin was there, that they would not have a conversation about their differences because Toyin had actually lost that right the moment she laid her hands on her. And I totally understand, guys. I mean, I totally understand. But still, I felt like Mariam was really insensitive, you know, in that whole situation. I mean, someone had gone for a neck surgery. She's in recuperation. I mean, for the sake of your 17 years of friendship. Anyways, guys, it's a very sensitive conversation. I don't want to talk too much about it, but what would you have done different in that situation? Please go ahead, let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, the conversation continued, and this time around, Chioma directed a question at Dr. Romeo. Now, she was asking him about the things Faith had said, he said about the women to Tania. I don't know if you guys understood that. If you all recall the Zaza episode, you know, where Tania had hosted the women to drinks, and Tania had arrived first, Faith had arrived earlier than the other women, and Tania had asked Faith for her own version of what exactly was happening between herself and Dr. Romeo, and Faith had opened up and explained and even showed her receipts, you know, of the fact that, listen, we just started talking in December, you know, just 5 months ago. It's not like we've known each other from way back, you know, all of those details. And though there were things that Dr. Romeo was saying about the women she wasn't comfortable with, so she had to sever her growing friendship with him. You know, if you all recall that particular episode, that was what Chioma was referring to. Now, Chioma had thrown that question at Dr. Romeo. Tania had picked it up from there, and the way she had actually narrated that particular episode, that conversation she had with Faith, she had made it look like she was all by herself as Zaza, and Faith had just come and give her gist, to gossip about Dr. Romeo, to gossip about the rest of the women. Guys, Tania had completely reversed the whole story. Like, she was trying to play some sort of reverse psychology on Faith. And then even the way she was addressing Faith, like, oh, I'm talking to you. Oh, look, she's not going to answer me now. I'm like, are you okay? Like, is this girl okay?
Miss Faith, she'll act like she can't. Okay, she can't hear me. I'm not doing this.
Because, guys, it was very, very irritating to see. Because Faith was right there beside Laura. Faith was pressing her phone. All Tanya needed to do was to call Faith, address Faith, and Faith will answer. But she had not even addressed Faith like, oh, I'm talking to you directly. She was already giving like a general statement. It was like an open statement that she was making. And she was already making this comment about, oh, see, now she's not going to answer me. She will act as if she did not hear me. Guys, at that moment, Faith literally put her in her place, shut her up. Like, no, I'm not deaf. If you're talking to me, you ask me a question, I will answer you. And Tanya was like, and because I noticed last night you didn't want to talk to me. Guys, Tanya was just trying to be unnecessarily petty, and it felt so good to watch Faith put her where she belongs. See that tiny corner that Iyabo and Chioma fashioned out for her and say, don't breathe until we ask you to breathe. Just stay there and act like the puppet that you are. Faith literally shushed her back into that little corner. Tanya found her voice again. But instead of her to give the accurate details of everything she and Faith had discussed, instead of her to actually give specifics, she kept on going on and on about, oh, he said, she said, she said, he said, she said, he said. Like, she just completely muddled up the whole story. And it was so infuriating to watch. And guys, I was glad that Faith had to step in to set the record straight. She gave the timeline of her friendship with Dr. Romeo right from the very, very beginning. She talked about the first time they ever met, which was what we saw in, I think, the first or second episode of this season, where they both met at his clinic. She even talked about the fact that whether his family were not even aware that they were meeting her for the first time. Like, according to her, he was so desperate to be liked, to be accepted. And she invited him to Chioma's event. Guys, I was so shocked that at the point Faith made that statement, you know, that she had invited him to Chioma's event, but Romeo was saying that it's a lie, that Faith did not invite him. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So how then did you hear of Chioma's event?
And you invited him for Chioma's event?
Yes.
that never happened again.
Like, guys, it did not even stop there. Faith talked about how she introduced him to the ladies, you know, so that he would get to meet with them for himself, instead of just giving judgment off the tip of his head like that about people that he did not know, people he had never met. And Dr. Romeo was saying that the only person Faith had introduced to him was Laura, that he introduced himself to the rest of the ladies. And you see, this is the reason why I was praying for the person that edited this particular episode, because, see, tell me why God do not bless that person. Because as Dr. Romeo was lying and lying and lying, the person was just dishing out the receipts. And everything showed clearly that this man was just shamelessly and desperately trying to redeem what was left of his image.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Rommel, nice to meet you. Yes. Tanya. Hello, hi.
Because, guys, it was shocking. This man was lying. And just when I thought that the lies was going to end there, but Romeo decided to come with an AK-47 of blatant lies to come and destroy all of us, our heads. Woo! Aside Dr. Romeo's lies, another thing that really got me gagging was Tanya once again faking selective amnesia. Yes, because this woman blatantly lied that, oh, she cannot remember if Faith was the one that introduced Dr. Romeo to her. That at that point in time, her mind was elsewhere. She was engaged in a conversation with whoever, and she saw this strange man that she does not know, and the only thing she had in mind at that point in time was how to get this person out of their crowd. Guys, see, I was just asking myself, where and how did Tanya come up with all this, with this story? Because, hey God, because guys, thankfully, production played that clip again. And what we saw clearly was Dr. Romeo had arrived, right? And Faith was sitting down. Faith had stood up. She had hugged him. They had greeted each other. And immediately, Faith started introducing Dr. Romeo to everybody. Because Laura was, I think, seated beside Faith, yeah? Laura was the first person that she had introduced. And then she had called on to Tanya and said, oh, Tanya, meet my friend, Dr. Romeo. Guys, Faith had introduced Dr. Romeo to everybody. Aside Chioma, that was not because it was Chioma's event, she was going around checking that everything was properly, you know, intact for the event. When Tanya gave that explanation, that her mind was elsewhere, so she could not remember if Faith had introduced. I'm like, Tanya, you are a cheap liar. At least lie with some dignity. You are oh God, you are a desperate liar. A desperate liar. It was time for Dr. Romeo to tell his own side of the story. And ladies and gentlemen, automatically, I developed a migraine. Because this man was saying so many things that were not adding up. Because guys, as he was speaking, I was just adding two and two together. I was trying to analyze the whole situation. And even though some of the things he was saying, I wasn't there to confirm if it is true or false, there were so many things that he was saying that were just blatant lies. So first, he claimed that Faith had actually told him that their plan should be for both of them to strategically get close to Iyabo, you know, buy into Iyabo's favor so that Iyabo would like them, and so that she will get the kind of man Iyabo is dating. If you all recall last episode where there was some sort of leakage with subtitles, this conversation came out. Now, the conversation then was that, oh, Dr. Romeo claimed that Faith wants to snatch Polo from Iyabo. But what we're hearing on this episode is that Faith wants to get close to Iyabo so that Iyabo will like her, so that she will get the type of man that Iyabo is dating. He further claimed that Faith's competition was Chioma all along. That, oh, Faith was always comparing herself to Chioma, that, oh, Chioma studied law, she also studied law, Chioma is well-traveled, she's also well-traveled, that Faith's plan was to come and dethrone Chioma. That Faith was the one that actually said that Chioma was not smart, Chioma was not intelligent, because they were asking him, oh, so who said that Chioma was not intelligent? He was just saying that Faith was the one that said it, that Faith, And guys, once again, production was showing us clips. And guys, if you will recall that conversation between Faith and Dr. Romeo, in Dr. Rommel'S house when Dr. Rommel had actually served Faith some tea, you know. He was the one that was making all those statements like, oh, I will judge, I'll be the perfect judge, and trust me, I'm going to have a lot of things to judge about. Like, he was so ready to judge the women. And Faith obviously was the one that was telling him, no, don't come with all of those judgmental vibes. You know, just come and meet them and get to know them for yourselves and blah, blah, blah. Guys, Dr. Rommel was saying a lot of things. Guys, Faith literally carried her hat. She carried it. In Nigeria, there's something that say, oh, I carry my hat for you. She literally carried her hats because of the plenty lies that this man was telling. Guys, they were all shocking. And guys, you see, whilst he was saying all of those things, he kept on turning to Chioma and Iyabo and reassuring them that they could never be his target. That I assure you, you will never be my target. And Iyabo and Chioma were like, you know, like they were believing him and like, thank you. You know, that kind of thing. And guys, as I said before, I wasn't there because we were asking him, was this a phone conversation? Did you people chat about this? He said, no, it was when they met. They had a one-on-one conversation. That Faith had a plan. She's very strategic. She strategized everything. He was just saying a lot of things. And Faith was so shocked. Guys, Faith was shocked. I was shocked because to counter most of the things he was saying, production kept on sharing us clips as receipts. Then, just as if seeing that he was gaining the upper hand with Iyabo and Chioma and even Tanya, he decided to go for the kill by trying to sabotage Faith's relationship with Laura.
How did she go to Laura that she calls dusted, tossed out, wasted? How did she go to Laura that she never mentioned to me in Atlanta when we were talking about? How did she go to you, my sister?
Now, this was the part where he was now saying that, oh, that Faith had actually seen that she could not get on Iyabo's good side. And so she had run to Laura, that this is the same Laura that Faith had called dusted and wasted. And he was really looking at Laura as he was saying all of these things. He was like, oh, she said that you are this, that she could not be friends with you. Like, this man was just saying a lot of things. And you see, yeah, guys, in the midst of Dr. Rommel saying all of these things, the one question I kept on asking myself, which was the same question that Faith asked during our confessional, was, why would someone plan to have someone as a target, right? And then you come into the group, the person bullies you, antagonizes you, and you decide to stand on your own instead of behave like Tanya, who is Iyabo's literal lapdog. Why would Faith stand on her own if really she planned on buying into Iyabo's favor? Because, guys, make it make sense. How does it even make sense? Because it doesn't even add up. I mean, guys, watching everything that happened from episode 1 till now, how does it make sense that Faith's strategy all along was to be on Iyabo's good side? You know, like, guys, how? How? And even talking about, when Faith saw that she could not get on Iyabo's good side, she ran to Laura. I'm like, dude, are you deaf? Haven't you heard that these two people have been talking for over 5 years? And then they've been speaking they've known now for over 5, like, how? Where does your story even cut in? How does it make sense? And you see, in that moment, aside everything Dr. Romeo was saying, his reaction to Iyabo's question and the things Laura said, it just completed the dots for me. It's completed, like, literally connected all the dots for me. Guys, it became very obvious that this man was seriously playing the game of reverse psychology on these women, that's Iyabo on her minions. And because these people already see Faith as a competition, these people are already threatened by Faith's presence in the group. These people already do not like Faith. They were literally opening their mouth like this, wow, and swallowing everything this man was saying. Hook, line, and sinker. Because Iyabo asked him that, okay, she said that, oh, you said XYZ about us, the women. Is it true? What did you say? And he was like, no, it does not exist. And Laura was like, well, I actually heard a lot of things about you. I don't know if it's true, but I heard a lot of things about you. And the things that you said, or was said that you said, were not really nice. And he was like, oh, Laura is hallucinating. Laura is hearing things. She's seeing things. That where is the evidence? Where is the receipt? I'm like, hey, God. It was like, did you hear it from my mouth? I'm like, well, people who lie and gossip a lot, that is always their line of defense. Because they know that you were not there when they were spreading that gossip. They'll always ask you, oh, did you hear it by yourself from my mouth? That's what they'll always say. And that was the line of defense that Dr. Romeo used. And then he flipped the script on Laura. He was asking Laura, oh, you see, that's why I said it's not fair. Oh, what if I was the one that came to say, oh, there were things that you said that's not nice? And Laura was just looking at him and laughing. And guess what? Dr. Romeo was like, you too, you've been manipulated. That's why you don't believe. And I'm like, well, she believes what she wants to believe. She's actually seen enough of you in action. She's seen you throw Faith under the bus. So what do you expect? And now because she does not believe it, because she's not taking your side, you're saying that she's being manipulated by Faith? Guys, Dr. Romeo was just very disgusting.
Now, it was very obvious that these women were still not satisfied with how the conversation was going. Because Faith was not countering anything that Dr. Romeo was saying. Reproduction was helping us counter it with all the clips and receipts that they were actually posting. Yeah. And I liked the fact that Faith did not waste her energy countering anything. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you and I know that these women do not like Faith. And no matter what she says, no matter how well she explains her own side of the story, they will still buy Dr. Rommel'S lies. Yes. And it was also very obvious that they could see and tell that Dr. Romeo was actually lying. But they believed everything still. Even Chioma declared during her confessional that she believes everything Dr. Romeo has said, because according to her, his story has been consistent from day one. And I was wondering, like, which story in particular has been consistent to you, Chioma? Just say it. You're intimidated by Faith Morey. She's your biggest nightmare on the show. You can't stand her existence. And the fact that she's really towering above you in queenness. And so you cannot handle it. So even if they tell you that Faith killed someone, and you know it's a lie, you actually believe it. And even if they tell you that your friends actually killed people, you say it's a lie. Your friends did not kill people. All in the name of loyalty. Blind, myopic, brainless loyalty. I mean, guys, it was just so pathetic to see. But anyways, still in that same conversation, because it was actually a lengthy conversation, Iyabo decided to address Faith's jewelry collection conversation from the previous night. And then she was like, and when you said I was wearing the jewelry from your collection, and is it that you think that I could not afford it? I have different jewelries. And that she also felt the need to explain that, oh, the jewelry was actually a gift from Faith, because when she visited Faith's showroom with her daughter and she saw the jewelries, she had asked Faith how much it was, and Faith had said, no, all I just need from you is to tag me. And Faith said yes. As a growing business, the biggest thing you can do for a growing business is to tag them so that they get the exposure that they need, which is true, ladies and gentlemen. Which business does not want to be tagged? Pray tell. Now, it was very obvious that Iyabo understood, because according to her, and she did not understand where Faith was coming from. And guys, you could tell that as at the previous night, Iyabo did not see anything into it. She was very uncomfortable because, oh yes, quite right, she had really portrayed the entire season that she does not like this woman, and oh, lo and behold, she's rocking stylishly, you know, a jewelry piece from this woman's collection. So it was the shame, the disgrace of it all for her. But then Tanya was actually the one that put that idea in Iyabo's head, that, oh, that statement that Faith made was actually a shade. And then she was even explaining herself. And guys, Faith was so irritated that that was when she turned to Tanya and said, look, you've just been in this group like a puppet all along. Any people turn, you follow. Any people turn, you follow. Like, people are just having a conversation. Nobody caught any shade. I was explaining something. And then you, all the way in your little corner where they kept you, which is actually true, by the way, all the way in your little corner, you sat down there, you decided to catch it as a shade, and you're coming to come and say, oh, you can, like, guys, see, everything Faith said on that table, and during her confessional, it just completely echoed my thoughts. I say, Faith, thank you so much for always bringing out what is in my mind. Because guys, I looked at Tanya, I'm like, look at you, looking so small. Look at you looking so small. And you see, the beauty of that situation was that everything Faith was saying during her confessionals, she actually said it to Tanya. She doesn't like talking to people that are snakes, and that is why she avoids Tanya, because she knows that the girl is a snake. You don't have a mind of your own. You only say what you want people to hear. And guys, Mariam was so happy. Mariam was so happy. Even at confessional, she was like, even though she and Faith are not friends, she was happy. Like, she was thanking Faith for speaking her mind. Even still during her confessionals, she was going on and on about how, you know, the fact that Tanya only says what she does not know and what she does not see. But what she sees, and people expect her to speak on it, she claims selective amnesia. Like, she acts like she does not know, like she forgets. And guys, that is nothing but the truth. But then it still made me question Mariam's intelligence still. Because I'm like, Mariam, you have all this information about these women, yet you're so desperately trying to be a part of their clique. What makes you think that Tanya will not gladly want to chop you up into pieces when the need arises? And guys, I was just literally cracking up when Tanya was explaining herself during her confessional that whether Faith meant it as a shade or not, or it is her own opinion, and that was how she chose to interpret it. And I'm like, when your brain is not functioning the way it should function, or at the capacity that it is expected to function, why won't that be the only thing that you actually see and hear? Yeah, why won't that be the only thing that you actually see and hear? And you see, Laura was so dumbfounded about where Tanya was coming from, that she looked at Tanya during her confessional. She was like, that she does not like Iyabo, but between Iyabo and Tanya, people that she does not like, that she would rather lay down her life for Iyabo than Tanya, because Tanya is more dangerous. And guys, once again, that is nothing but the gospel truth. Now, just like Iyabo, it felt like Chioma was not satisfied with the way the whole drama was going, because if you think about it, she wasn't like directly involved in all the drama. So it seemed like she wanted to stir things up between herself and Faith, you know, so that she would have her own moment to shine, speak English, say a lot of things and speak her accent. And so she, you know, threw the question to Faith about if really Faith had actually said that she was going to school her, you know, that she's a lawyer, all those comparisons and all whatnot, you know, everything that Dr. Romeo had actually claimed whilst he was giving his own narrative. And Faith had actually said it is not a yes or no answer, that it is actually a no and then it's a yes. Now, the yes comes in the part where, you know, they had met for the first time and Chioma had actually asked her about her age. Because if you all recall that particular scene, that was the first time all the ladies had actually met for the first time, you know, with the newcomers, that, with the exception of Dr. Romeo. And Chioma had been very hasty to ask Faith, how old are you? In Chioma's confessional, Chioma has said it in this manner, that, oh, how old is she for she to have an 11-year-old son? Guys, that was disrespectful. That was condescending. Even looking at Chioma's body language when she had said what she said during her confessionals, you could tell that that question was not coming from a good place. It was not coming from a place of, you know, natural inquisitiveness. It was coming from a judgmental place, and that was what it was. So Faith was telling her that social etiquette, you know, does not require you to ask women especially people about their age when you're just meeting them for the first time. And that was what she was actually referring to when she was saying that Chioma does not really understand these things. Oh, you're well-traveled, you're intelligent, you're well-versed, but why would you ask such a question? Instantly, Chioma picked offense. She's talking about, oh, I'm a queen, yes, I'm well-traveled. And then during her confessional, she now made one very ridiculous, oh God.
Baby girl, don't you ever attempt to school me about etiquette. Yes, I am Nigerian, I'm very proud. But guess what? I spent way more time outside of Nigeria than your limited vocabulary can ever assimilate.
I mean, listening to Chioma's confessional about why she has a better social etiquette than Faith, Jesus. Guys, it was cringe. Because according to her, oh, I'm well traveled. Oh, I'm well this. Oh, go and check your English vocabulary. I mean, the way she actually said it, it was really spicy and petty, and it made for good TV. But then, looking at the actual meaning, even analyzing the statement, it just meant that Chioma's own definition of having proper social etiquette is your ability to have been well traveled. I mean, guys, at that point, I was deeply ashamed on Chioma's behalf, because I'm like, where did Chioma learn that having premium social etiquette means having a Brit American accent? In other words, having a British and American accent, or even forming and blending the accent all together. In fact, we're even confused at this point which accent it is. Like, where did she learn that it's about being well traveled, wearing designer logos all over your body, walking around like a walking billboard? Like, where did Chioma learn all these things? Chioma needs to unlearn a lot of things. Because, guys, even listening to that her explanation, oh my God, I cringed. Once again, Chioma was going on about, oh, the crown on her head, her queenliness and all. And guys, Faith was just laughing at this girl because it was really hilarious. It was hilarious. They had a brief back and forth, at each other. Dr. Romeo too was, he was trying to spice things up, whispering things to Iyabo, whispering things to Chioma. Guys, it was just messy. It was very, very messy. And at the end of it all, Chioma thanked Dr. Romeo for the so-called clarity that he had helped her gain, which was quite hilarious to me, And see, as those final episode ended, the one thing I kept on telling myself at the end of it all was, if all these women watch this entire season and they still believe that Dr. Romeo is not the villain, that Faith instead is the villain, then indeed they all have a problem. And I'm referring to Iyabo and her minions now. It means that they all have a problem. They all have a personal challenge. It means Faith indeed is the air that they breathe this season. It means that indeed there's nothing Faith did to them. They just want to beef. They just want to hate. They just want to beef this woman. And that is it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am here waiting for the reunion. And this is a special message to production. They should not just shoot themselves in the leg by bringing Uti Nwachukwu. I'm sorry, no beef, no hate towards Uti, but we don't want someone that's going to come and kiss us, during the reunion. We want a real person that will give real questions, that will give real reactions, that will give a real energy to those women on the day of reunion. So I'm going to stop talking here. There's a lot more to talk about tomorrow, 3 p.m. WAT. Do not miss out, guys, for our live conversation. But in the meantime, I would love to hear your thoughts about everything that happened on this particular episode of the Real Housewives of Lagos. So please go ahead and share, and I'll see you guys on another episode of Frankly Speaking Weekly Real Ikeji. Thanks for watching and have an amazing day. Bye.